We have set up project structure and also tested end-to-end flow in the previous episode. In this episode, we are going to see how to test with dummy data. So when we plug in database, all we need to change some configuration files, and also with dummy data, we can easily change something or edit something without touching any database related stuff. And there are so many libraries outside where we can use for dummy data or test data, but we are not going to install or import any other libraries. We just create our own test data. Let's get into implementation. So let's create a folder called test data under what we have. Now I'm going to create a service under this, and I'm going to create some dummy methods in this service class. This service is very similar to any other services or any other classes that we created so far. The only thing here is we are going to create some dummy data here. So I'm going to create only two methods. So since we are actually creating a to-do REST application. So I'm going to put some data here, task, ID, and description. Maybe created by, created date. So this data is just an array of objects. So I'm just copy and paste the same object twice. Maybe change some IDs. Okay, so now we have dummy data, and let's go ahead and create two methods. One method return this data, get tasks, and another method create task, which actually create or push another object to this array. So create task method will take the task and push the task into this array, and will return the new array. Now we are done with the test data function, and I would import this function in the repository because this class is responsible for handling all the database related stuff. So we need to import this here so that in the next episodes when we configure database, all we need to do is replace this test data with the database related configuration or class. For now, we are using this test data to return tasks, and also we are using this test data method to create the task as well. Now we have to, okay, now when we hit the actual get tasks thing, we are getting the data, we are getting the JSON data. Let's test it here as well. I think we need to change the from delete to get. So let's see. Now we are getting the data with JSON format. As you can see, creating the test data is very easy. You can use other libraries as well, but for simple application we don't need. You can create your own class and test data as well. And let's see how the post works. So let's copy one object, and so since we are using post to create task, so let's copy the object and we need to send the data in the post call. So you can send the data in any format. Since our REST API will take the data as in JSON format, we need to send the data in JSON format as we can see here. I'm going to change the ID to 126 and maybe as you can see, we are not able to send it. That's because the tasks are working fine. No, we are able to send it, but object, we're not receiving the data and we are creating empty object. I think that's because we are not reading the data from the request object. So whenever you send a post call, in the post call you receive a request object, and that request object has all this data that we are sending. I don't think we are reading it from the request object. I think we are going to change it. Let's go ahead and change that one. And also there is an issue with this class as well. I think we need to change the data, how we are accessing this data. We need to change that as well. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, because this data is not, we're not able to access this data in the class. We need to change this. We move this data into the class as a instance variable, so that you can access this data with this keyword. Now it should work. As you can see, we are creating the data but with empty object. That also we will solve in the next few minutes. So as you look at the controller, when you're creating the task is being passed to the service class. But if you look at the routes, we are passing empty object. We just need to change from from passing empty object to taking the data from request.body. So whatever the data that you send in the postman, in the post object, in the post call, that the data actually be presented on the request.body. But when you test this function, when you test this call, you are still getting empty. You are still getting the empty object. That's because NodeJS itself doesn't have that ability to parse the data. You just need to add another library, which we are going to add in next few seconds. Let's put the console.log here, so that when you make the post call, you will see what is there on the request.body object. Now if you make the call and go and look at the console.log, you don't see anything. You don't see that printed at all. So for this purpose, we need to use another library called body parser. Let's go ahead and let's go to the route, and since it's a middleware, so we just need to use that middleware function. We just need to import that const body parser. Now we just need to use this middleware with app.use. Remember, this is a way whenever you want to use any middleware, you just need to pass that middleware to the app.use, or you can define your own function as well. So I think it's a depreciated. The way we use this body parser is depreciated, but it still works. Now you can see that object is getting added. You can see that 126 ID number 126. Let's change that to 127 and make the post call again. Yep, this object is also getting added, and you can query this. I think there is a problem with the test data class. Let's look at the test data class. What is the issue here? We are getting the same error in the Postman as well. Let's look at the test data class. Oh, I think we are missing this keyword. Let's add this keyword to data and let's see whether it works or not. Yeah, now it's working fine. So since we restarted the application, we don't see that data since we are not using any database, so it's a dummy data. Let's make some post calls again so that we can see the fresh data. Now you can see that object getting added, and the query is also working fine. So let's change this body parser. I think we just need to remove that function and also use the .json, because since we are parsing the JSON, we just need to use body parser .json function instead of directly using body parser function. Now if you make a post call, you don't see that error anymore. Yeah, as you can see, you can actually see request.body also, and also you don't see that function. Sorry, you don't see that error message where it says depreciated message. Yeah, that's how we actually add test data to any Node.js REST API, or you can use any other library as well. If it is simple enough, you don't need to add any test data. You don't need any library. So thank you for watching.